Nice carpets. Great. Oh, what, Dave? You've only got 2 pedals. Ugh. Some things I don't like. Okay. Right, not a manual transmission, but check it out. There's no park, there's no drive. It's the SMG 2 that is coming in all the M3s. I believe that's the E46 M3. Now, the SMG is a whole thing on its own to talk about. I don't think I'm going to get into it on this video, but I like it. It's not a 6-speed sequential manual gearbox. All that means is it's not an automatic transmission. It's got to go through the gears, and the clutch pedal is replaced with an actuator that, if I had to replace, would mean my family does not get Christmas this year. Wish I had a manual. That would be really nice. You know, I'm craving the clutch pedal so much, but I gotta say, the more I drive the SMG, I understand why it's a thing. You're getting the performance and fuel economy of a manual gearbox without having to worry about a clutch pedal in traffic. So if the SMG pump ever does go out, perhaps I'll do a 6-speed swap. Who knows? Might be more trouble than it's worth, but we'll see. Other honorable mention, sport button. I'll make a whole video on the SMG itself, but the sport button essentially, it's like kicking the clutch pedal faster so you can shift through quicker. It's faster shifts than any human can accomplish with their own foot and their own leverage. So in that sense, it's actually a better reaction time. There's some stuff on Wikipedia about it. We'll get into that later. Until you learn how to just do this right, it causes a little bit of a clunk in the rear axle, as the shifts can be a little harsh, so take some time. Down below we have seats that are rugged leather, but not very bolstered. The later years did feature larger, better bolstered seats, including the M. Of course the Z4M is gonna have the best seats. The backs of the seats have really no way of holding themselves in place. Like these, that plastic tab, it's a joke. It's not even a fun joke, it's just a bad joke. The word I would use to describe these seats is adequate. It's enough bolstering. It keeps you in place. They're comfortable on long drives. You're not going to have fatigue. Your back doesn't hurt, is like it would in the Miata. In the MX-5, I would feel uncomfortable after about 45 minutes of sitting in that tiny seat. But on these, nah. And you know what? It feels a lot roomier. Of course, it's a premium car. It's a BMW versus a small Mazda. But this is my relative range of experience, and that's what I have to compare to. Now, some of the other things, you know, the cup holders are one small problem, but man, plastic everything, it needs to just go away. You know, by that I mean there's cracks in the convertible top. Like there's a little crack right here. Why? There's a little cracks in the very front of the cover, and then of course this whole thing here, this whole bit is broken on that side. Also a plastic mount. It doesn't really interfere much with my visibility, so that's okay. I'm willing to tolerate it. It doesn't squeak or rattle, and that's also nice. But having these visors that don't even come out, it's a joke. Right now would be a pretty good time to have that visor that flips over. Pretty basic stuff to be missing. This would be a perfect time to have a visor that swings out, but it doesn't. Yeah, the gas cap. Well, you know what? It's like I mentioned earlier, plastics are one of the big issues on these cars. So having a gas cap fuel door that just hinges on a plastic bit, I went to open it one night and it just decided to break on me. But it gives you an interesting view of kind of what it's like underneath the skin of the car, you know, on the side and all that. Speaking of failing plastics, look at that. They all do that. In addition to plastics, electronics on BMW are another big issue. When I had my E34 525 in the winter, things were going wonky on me. I was replacing modules and relays left and right. Now, because we're reaching cold weather here, my doors will lock. My doors will... Oh, go on then. Maybe they won't lock because the lights are on. Ooh, that could be interesting. My doors will lock. Yeah, that's a nice little feature. And they won't unlock. I hear the actuator in the locking center, and I hear the actuator working for the gas door, but driver side, passenger side, nada. Some people go in and try to lubricate the cables. Other people go in and replace the actuator themselves. That's $200. But you know, it's the infamous GM5 general body module. It's a general module that is controlling your wipers and your doors, your actuators for your trunk, things like that. It lives under the glove box, and the relays don't really work well in the cold. Another way that I have problems with relays in the cold. Keep an eye on that neutral there, and watch as I put this in reverse. And it takes a little bit. Because I drove the car, it's warmed up, but what would happen normally is I'll put it in reverse, and we'll just sit and wait and wait and wait, and it doesn't go in reverse, and then I have to kind of wiggle it back and forth a lot. Get that relay to work again. That's a very common relay. That's the salmon colored relay under the bonnet there. That's $10 from FCP. But the relays in the GM5 need to be resoldered because they are soldered into the circuit board. Thankfully, it's just the relays. It's not like Volvo. When those modules go bad, the solder joints themselves are the ones that have failed in various places. This is just the internal workings of a small relay made in Portugal. Sorry to put you guys into the bus like that, Portugal. One of the things I really don't appreciate, these Afterthought Cup Holders. Yeah, we're lucky enough to even get them, but you can see this one's broken entirely. And there's the other one there. They do ratchet so that you can adjust them for different size cups. I don't recommend putting any cups in there. I'm scared that they're gonna fall out. But you know, it's very taboo for Germans, for Europeans to drink while driving. So that's the Afterthought Cup Holders there. Just as women fought for many years to get the right to vote, we have to fight for our right to listen to the music we want, which means there is no aux cord, aux jack, nada in this car. Was it an option? Sure. Did it happen in 2007 like a standard thing? Sure. But here, nah. FCP's got a replacement kit that is, I believe, the OEM BMW aux jack, which might go somewhere under here or might go in the glove box, which is actually a joke of a glove box. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay, take notice of the shape of the dashboard, how that aluminum piece starts small, widens up in the center, and then closes off. That shape repeats itself on the mirror. I think it's a silly mirror. Oh, look, there she is again. You know what this shape reminds me of? Great. Of all the wonderful things in here, this paper is folded in thirds, and that's the only way I could get it to fit inside a glove box that's about 3.5 inches deep. It's a joke. It's a real joke. It's not even funny. Of course, every key is gonna need the battery replaced after 10, 15 years. You have to solder it in place. I cut the solders here, and we're gonna see how much luck we have with a replacement battery. It comes with the tabs, but they're a little bit different than this because you're not supposed to replace it yourself. The dealer wants you to buy a brand new key. There's too many videos online about this already, so I don't need to cover what's already been covered, but let's solder it. And because it's the time of year, honorable mention goes to Yankee Candle Macintosh Scented. It's a candle company that makes car fresheners that smell like fruit. There's a lot of crossover in that. It's not an ad, just looking good girl, smelling good girl. I'm keeping these on so that if I ever get pulled over, they're gonna see him and go, oh, he supports the union. We'll let him off with a warning.